Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Crystal Earnhardt, and I've written for Junior Guide for over 25 years. I also work for a school library, so that should tell you one thing about me. I love stories, and today I'm going to read you one of my favorite. I am the mother in this story, and my daughter is the little girl, so you can be certain that this is a true story. It's called The Great Snake Escape. I didn't want to go to church school graduation, but since Dad was the speaker for the service, Mom made me attend. I wasn't a student at this school, and I felt completely out of place. Had it not been for Brent, a mischievous, cute, blonde-haired boy with brown puppy dog eyes, this graduation would have slid from my memory quicker than a frog catches a fly. But it didn't turn out that way. At the graduation, excited kids stood at the door and handed out bulletins. Nervous teachers hurried around, making sure everyone was ready, checking music, and looking completely flustered. I took a seat in the back, and the ceremony began. I watched as kids marched in and sang songs, quoted memory verses, and gave tributes to parents. Nobody fell off the stage or dropped a microphone. It was all very smooth and really boring. Finally, it was time for the best part, refreshments. As parents and church members visited while munching on cookies and drinking punch, students ran outside to play games. I stood back, not knowing what to do. That was when Brent noticed me. "Want to see a snake?" He leaned against the wall and watched for my reaction. I couldn't help smiling. I loved reptiles and had begged Mom for a snake as a pet. "Never," she responded. "I will never share my house with a snake." I started to protest, but she adamantly waved her arms in the air and walked off, sputtering about nasty, slithery tools of Satan. I knew better than to ever ask again. "Where is it?" I asked, almost hopping up and down. I caught myself just in time and tried to act casual. "Outside. Are you scared?" he asked. "Just take me to the snake, okay?" I glanced over at Mom and Dad. We don't have much time. True to his word, Brent had a 6-foot-long snake holed up in a box. I recognized it as a harmless creature. Brent took it out and eyed me curiously. "Want to hold it?" "Of course I do," I told Brent. Unknown to Mom, Dad had taught me how to hold a snake. I remembered to move slowly and to let the reptile come up on one arm while sliding up my other hand for it to transfer onto in a continual movement. I was so excited. Soon the church doors opened and people started exiting. I heard a female scream and knew without looking that Mom had seen me first and was about to faint. Dad came to the rescue. "What have you got there?" he asked as he took the snake from me. "It's a snake," Brent said. "He won't hurt you." Dad smiled. "Actually, I know all about snakes," he said. "This one's a real beauty. What are you going to do with it?" "Well, I was hoping you'd take it home," Brent said. He turned around and winked at me. "This snake needs to be off the property. The deacon said he was going to run over it with a lawnmower if he ever saw it again." "That's a fact," a big burly man said as he stepped up, "and I mean it." "Now, that's too bad," Dad told him. "This kind of snake is a useful creature to have around. It pays its rent by eating mice." "And birds, unfortunately," the deacon added. "We have lots of small children and older folk around here. I don't want to scared the life out of them. Looking at Dad, Brent said, "You could take it home and put it into the woods. I can put it in this box and we can tape it up so he can't get out until you get there." By now, Mom had recovered enough to protest, but between the deacon, 6 elderly women, and Dad, we convinced her that the snake would not escape from the box on the ride to the woods. At last she uttered a reluctant, "Well, all right then." Before I knew it, we were in the van and the box was on the floor in the back. Dad drove while Mom sat on the front seat with her legs curled up underneath her, chattering all the way about how crazy this was, driving down the road with a snake in the car. "I'll die on the spot if that thing gets out and crawls up my leg," she said. She kept looking back at me, asking me if I was okay. The drive home usually took about 20 minutes. We were almost there when I felt something brush against my foot. It was dark in the car and I couldn't see anything. But there was nothing else it could be except you know what. I didn't know what to do. If I said anything, Mom would start screaming and Dad might wreck the car. Just then, Dad steered the car to the side of the road and stopped. "What's wrong?" Mom asked as her hand reached for the door handle. "Is that snake loose?" "Nothing's wrong," Dad said. "I think I just need to." But before he could say another word, Mom looked over and saw that the snake had crawled up Dad's pant leg. Dad reached out in the darkness, hoping he could grasp the creature behind its head. But the snake had already made its way up his arm and was now wrapping its tail on the steering wheel. It took Mom less than 2 seconds to leap out of the car. The next thing I knew, she had opened the door and was desperately trying to pull me out, but I still had my seatbelt on. At last, Dad said to Mom, "It's okay. I have the snake in my arms. I'm not getting back into that car with that snake," she responded, her voice trembling and her hands shaking. I stared at my usually calm mother. If the house were going up in flames, she would undoubtedly take me by the arm and gently lead me outside. But show her a snake and her blood pressure skyrockets, her eyes bug out, and her veins stand out on her neck. I couldn't understand it, but Dad called it a phobia. Mom was about to walk home until Dad got out of the car with the very docile snake curled around his arm. He tossed the keys to Mom. "You drive," he said. "I'll sit in the back and hold this beautiful creature that God made. I'm pretty sure that bears little resemblance to God's original model," Mom says sarcastically. "And don't forget that he cursed them too." Finally, she took the keys, started the engine, and pulled back onto the road. Dad said she beat Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s best NASCAR timing. I named the snake Roscoe. Dad and I released him into the woods. He slithered off without so much as a backward glance. I wished him well. After all, he might just eat a mouse. That would make Mom die on the spot if it got into her house. Have a good day, boys and girls.